Hey, I'm Taylor Swift playing Check It All. No, you already know it. I'm Javi. What are we going to do today? We are going to talk about databases. We are going to talk about RDS on AWS, the managed service of relational databases in the Amazon cloud. This is an schema that tries to show what we are going to deploy today. Uh, I am experiencing some technical difficulties, so uh, forgive me if you see part of if the sound is not as clear as always, and if you see part of the tools that I am using to record the screencast. Anyway, here we have Alice. Alice is the user that wants to connect to our application, and our application will use a relational database. Let's say a MySQL, because probably you are already familiar with it. We are going to deploy a VPC. You already know it is a network with an internet gateway, which is the device, actually a record in a database, but think about it as the device that allows your VPC to connect to the internet. And we will create a public subnet that is nothing more than a subnet with a root table attached to it, this one, that will connect this subnet to the internet gateway. Every resource we deploy here in this subnet will be able to connect to the internet. Basically, we should deploy, if we are not using an elastic load balancer, we should deploy our application server here. But we are going to actually create just a bastion machine. A bastion machine is just a way to be inside, to be into the VPC, to go into the VPC, to be able to connect to the rest of the subnets that are not public in the VPC. And actually we are going to create two different private subnets, this one, A and B, on different availability zones to provide high availability. And we are going to attach to them a different root table that will not use the internet gateway. So if you deploy anything here on this part of the schema, the resources that are placed here are not going to be visible from outside the VPC. And of course, we are going to use it to deploy a master node of our RDS instance with our MySQL. On the other subnet, we will deploy the slave node. What we will do is going to be to connect from our desktop to the Bastion server, and once we are in the Bastion server, we will be able to open a connection to the master node, because we will be already inside the same VPC, and all the instances and resources inside the VPC have visibility to any other resource in the same VPC. Okay? But remember, Alice is not going to be able to directly connect to the master node from outside. This is a way to reduce our exposed surface, and a way, in other words, to increase the security of our system. Let's go, let's do it. Let me change to the console here, and we will start creating the VPC. Yes, this is a good moment to set the reproduction. Reproduction is not actually the word, isn't it, in English? But you understand me. This is a good moment to push to create a. Okay, let's use the wizard to create a VPC with a single public subnet, and we will extend it with the additional resources. Select the first option, this address range is okay for me. The VPC is going to be RDS Demo VPC. The subnet that we are going to create can be perfectly have this range, address range, and we will place it in. I don't really care too much, so no preference is a good availability zone. This is going to be the public subnet, and we will activate the DNS hostnames and press the create VPC. Now it is being created, including the internet gateway and the route table attached to it, and we can take a look at it and your VPCs. Let's see, here it is. This is our VPC, and we already have a subnet here. Now we are going to create, the subnet is already attached to a route table which contains the internet gateway. So it is okay, it's already configured. We are going to create both private subnets. We press the create subnet button. We assign a good name to it, maybe private A on with 10.0.10.24 as the range. The address is. Come on. Okay. Here we are with private A, and we are going to create private B. Private B on the same VPC on B availability zone with, let's say, 10.0.20/24 as the address mask. Perfect. If we take a look at the, here they are. If we take a look at the route table, you will see how this one is using this route table without a route to the elastic load, to the internet gateway. Be sure both private A and private B use this table without the internet gateway, and check again that the public subnet contains the different table, the different route table that will allow us to connect to the Bastion instance created there. Perfect. Next step we are going to do now is to create a security group on this VPC that will allow us to connect to the Bastion. Let's say that this is the Bastion security group. The group name is Bastion2, and launcher used to connect to the RDS, and or even better to the private assets. And we select our VPC. Here it is. We have created the security group, and we will ensure that on our Bastion security group, I'm filtering, the inbound rules allows us to connect to SSH. You have done that and this a lot of time. I will press save. Oh, from anywhere in this case. Oh, sorry. Save it. Yes, I know. Cannot be because I want to delete this one. Now, save. Excuse me. You have done this a lot of times, so I will not spend more time here. And the security group used by the RDS system, the RDS database, will be created using the RDS wizard. So we are good to go now. And we can launch our Bastion instance here. It will take some time, so maybe we can do that right now. I go to all the services, I select the EC2 service to create new virtual machines, and let's launch a quick one. Launch instance, here it is, an Amazon Linux. Okay, T2 micro is good enough, even too much for this work. The VPC is okay. We want it in the public subnet, and this is a very important point. Any other way, we will not be able to access this instance from outside. We assign an IP for the same reason. Okay, and we do not need to set any other basic setting in the instance. 8 gigabytes is enough, and the name of the instance is going to be Bastion. Alright, another tag is going to be the owner, which is myself, and the project, which is going to be the RDS Demo. The security group of the instance, you already know it, is going to be our Bastion security group. Here, perfect, we can review the rule one more time, review and launch. And everything is okay, so launch this instance. I'm going to create a new key pair because I'm not sure that I have the previous one. This is going to be the RDS Demo key pair. We'll download it right now. Accept. And now please launch the instance. Okay, we are already created the VPC, the subnets, the route tables, the security group for the Bastion, and we are launching the Bastion itself. Here it is. Let's go again to the beginning, to the main screen, all the services, and we choose RDS. We can find it here if it doesn't appear with the rest of the services in the lower part of the screen. And we are going to start creating a new instance. We choose MySQL, select it. We choose MySQL again. We are going to make a high availability deployment, so we are keeping this option instead of this one. So we will create a master and a slave, even if in this demo it is not really very important. Next, and let's select the important data of the configuration. The license model is okay, the engine version it's also okay, but I do not want such a big machine. We are going to start with a DVT2 micro, should be enough. And yes, we are going to deploy multi-AC. We are going to create both a master and a slave. The 5 gigabytes is enough for our disk because this is just a demo, but remember the performance is going to be horrible for most production databases. The identifier is going to be demo RDS because at this hour by the night I do not have more imagination. The master username is going to be admin and the password is going to be Bragas de Esparto 1. Remember this password because we are going to need it later. Okay, let's press next because now we arrive to the, I will not say complicated part, but the part that you need to keep the focus to complete correctly. Be sure you used the VPC that we have created previously. It is going to create a new DVD subnet group, and let's say we do not want to use to access this database from outside. So it will not assign public IPs to the instances. And then we will create a new, the availability zone will be automatically selected by the system. And then we will let the system to create the security group of the databases, okay? The database name is going to be demo, and the port is, the parameter group is the configuration. The default configuration usually is quite good, so do not touch it. And we activate the copy tags to the snapshots. We are not going to create any manual snapshot of the database, but it is an option that is important to keep it activated. And the backup retention period, you already know this is super important and basically determines how many days you can go back in time to restore a point in time in the database. We are going to use only 1 day and the backup window is selected to help the system to decide when the backup is going to be created. I will set no preference. We already have selected and have that monitoring, and we will tell the system that we want to apply minor patches to our database automatically. This is important because this way we are not going to need to manually upgrade the latest version of the database with the security patches. We should set maintenance windows for this, because we do not want to patch our databases while our workload is high, but just for the demo we will say that we have no preference. Oh, sorry, I forgot to set the first option correctly. If you look at this, you will see that I have not created a subnet group. Without a subnet group, the AWS will choose to any subnets in the VPC. So there is a chance that it will choose the public in the public subnet as the subnet to deploy one of the nodes. So I'm sorry, I'm going to jump again to the RDS dashboard. I will create a subnet group and I will come back here in a moment. Let me do that in a new tab, so I will not lose the previous configuration. Let's copy it. Let's go here to subnet groups and let's create a new one. Create DB subnet group with the demo subnet group, subnet group for the demo, and I will choose the RDS VPC, and here it is. Let's select the VPC A and the subnet ID. Thank you very much. The 000 was the public one. This was the first private, and I will add it, and then I will choose the B availability zone, and this was the other subnet, and I have been able to determine that because the default wizard to create VPCs always sets the public subnet to 10.0.0.0. If you do not change the defaults, I will press create, and now that I have this already created subnet group, I will go back to the other screen. I will reload the information, and here you have the demo group already attached. Okay, looks like we are good to go. We are good to go. Let's launch the database instances. Come on, it is being created. You already know it will take some time, maybe 15 minutes, maybe a bit more. So I will press stop here, and with the magic of the screencast, in a few seconds, you will show the result. You will see, excuse me, the result. Okay, 10 minutes later, we already have available our instance. Look at this. This is the endpoint. This is the name of our master database. So I'm going to copy it, okay? And we will use it to access to the master from the bastion. We cannot use this endpoint directly from our laptop. As you can check, if I open a console and I try to ping to this address, you will see how this address is resolved to a private IP. We cannot connect from outside the VPC to this private IP. So what we are going to do is to connect to the VPC, actually to the EC2 instance that we previously launched. Let me clear this screen. Let me take a look at where is the private key. Okay, let's copy it to, for example, TMP. All right. And now that I have the private key in a folder that I will be able to remember, let's go to the EC2 dashboard to take a look at the public IP of our Bastion instance that should be running here. Tell me it is running, please. Yes. If we look for the details and we take its IP, I will copy this IP too, and I will try to connect to it. SSH -I, and on TeamP I have the PM, the RDS Demo key pair.pm private key. The user is EC2-user at this IP. Oh, looks like we are in, isn't it? Yes. Cool. Now I am in the Bastion. Remember, I will show again the picture from the beginning now, because I want you to see that we were in our laptop and we have connected to the Bastion instance here. Now we are in the VPC, so I will be able to access the master running inside this VPC, even if it is in another subnet, and that other subnet is a private one, a subnet without a root table connecting it to the internet gateway. Again, I will need, I need the endpoint of that instance here. I will copy it again, and I will change to the console and use this endpoint to connect to it. To manage MySQL, I will use the standard command line interface to MySQL. Let me clear the screen. Let me show you that it is not installed in the system, in the Amazon Linux. The standard client is MySQL, and MySQL is not installed. There is no path to the MySQL program, so I will install that program right now. Sudo yum install MySQL, and after yes, please install it. And after a few seconds, let me clear the screen and ask again for it. Where is MySQL? And yes, here it is. Now I just need to use the MySQL client with the -host option to the endpoint that I have copied before. I will remove the port because it is implicit, it is the default MySQL port, and I want to use the user admin and to let the system ask me for a password. Maybe you will be able to read it if I keep it in one single line, okay? Thank you for nothing, because I have a typo here. I can correct it, and again. Now, what was the password? Yes, Bragas de Esparto 1, which is actually the password of Paz Padilla, which is a local celebrity here in Spain. And let's see if we can connect to the instance. And looks like I have some problem, probably with the security group. Let me stop the recording and check it. Okay, sorry, yes, my mistake. Do you remember I let the system choose to create a new security group for the instance? Oh, I was not thinking clearly, because in that case what happens is that basically we can manage the columns here that we will to see in the report, and we ensure that the security groups is active. If we do that, we can use the scroll bar to look at the security groups, and this security group, RDS Launch Wizard Active, is an RDS security group, not a VPC security group. I should have created a security group in our VPC and attach that security group to our instances. My mistake, but again, we are going to correct it. What we are going to do is to go to the VPC. We are going to create a new security group for our database. We will open the port 3306, which is the default MySQL port, and we will modify our instance to use it. Okay, let's do it again. I will use, for example, this tab, because I don't want to lose the RDS screen. I will choose VPC, and I will navigate to the security group. Let's see, here it is, the security group option. Let's create a new one, name RDS Demo Security Group, with a description like the security group for the MySQL instance. And we will set our VPC. Yes, create. And now we will define the RDS demo. Here it is. We will define the inbound rules. We will add a MySQL Aurora rule to open the port 3306 from, and this is quite cool, only from Bastion. Look at this. I can choose the Bastion security group. So only instances from Bastion will be able to connect to our RDS database. Of course, if you have an auto-scaling group with your fleet of web servers, you should also add the port 3306 for the security group of that fleet of servers, or any other way the web application servers will not be able to connect to our database. I will press save, and now I'm going back to our RDS instance here, and I'm sure I select the correct node, this one, and in instance actions I will modify the instance. Ojo, modify, not reboot. This is wonderful because if you take a look at this screen, you will see how you can change a lot of things. But here we just want to modify the security group, okay? And I am setting the newly defined security group. Okay, let's apply changes. It will modify, yes, please. It will take some time. Some modifications can be done, like this one, for example, can be done without any kind of outage. There are other modifications that will occur in a small outage even if you have a high availability deployment. But take a look at the documentation to see the details, because for most cases, for example, increasing the performance of the hard disk, you will not have any kind of outage. That is wonderful. Okay, let's see what is happening with our security group. We can see how they are removing, AWS is removing the old one and adding the new. And it will take a few seconds, but now we have the new security group. So let's try it again. I will again copy the endpoint to the clipboard, and I will move to the console and use the MySQL command with the host of our database, the user admin, and please ask me for the password. And if everything is okay, and it is, here we are in the kitchen. We have arrived to the MySQL server. Look at this prompt. I'm not inside the Bastion anymore. I am inside, well, I am using a program running in Bastion to send commands to the MySQL instance. For example, describe databases. Thank you very much. I don't remember the command to describe that databases, but I remember the command to choose one. So please use the demo database and describe tables. Sorry, too much time with MongoDB. Show tables. Let's create a table. Create table info with A as an integer, B as a bar chart of 32 characters, and now insert into info values 1 and A, and values 2 and B. And let's select the information from that table. Select star from info. Yoo-hoo! We have our database ready for production. Okay, I will now destroy all the resources that we have used in this demo, because relational databases are not the most inexpensive resources on AWS. I will get out of here and out of the instance and out of the console in my laptop. I'm going to terminate the instance, and beware, always create a final snapshot, because you know, any other way you will sooner or later destroy an important database. If you at least you have your final snapshot, you will be able to recover yourself from that drama in a few minutes or maybe in an hour, instead of just spending the rest of the day screaming and running in circles. So I will keep the final snapshot. We'll delete the instance. The final snapshot can be also deleted a few hours later or by the end of the week if you have perceived that your system is still alive and you haven't destroyed the most important database in your company. And also, I'm going to go to the EC2 panel and terminate the Bastion instance. Let's see, here it is, EC2. Here is our Bastion. Right button. And what happens? Thank you, not now. An instance state, terminate. Yes, I want to terminate it. Okay. And after a few minutes, after the RDS instance have, after the RDS instances have been destroyed and the Bastion have disappeared, we can go to the VPC service and just destroy the whole VPC. That will also delete the security group, internet gateway, and the rest of the resources. I will click over now, but I will get an error. Probably because I'm still using it, because AWS have not got enough time to remove all the resources, but you get the idea, okay? Come on, thank you very much for following to me until this point. Forgive me for the errors I have committed. I will maybe with the time redo this video to create a cleaner version, but I hope you have got the idea, and hey, you have created all this architecture on AWS, so enjoy it.